Hey guys, Gene here, and here for you today a quick update video. Looks like Side Games has finally emergency nerfed the best two decks of the rotation format. First they hit Heartsick Demon from a 2-mana 2/2 to a 6-mana 6/6. It's huge. Heartsick Demon, if you got Vengeance off, it was basically a free 0-mana 2/2 or a 2-mana 2/2 that lets your next turn your plays are just even more stupid. And Alana, the namesake of the rotation deck, went from a 2-mana 2/2 to a 4-mana 3/4. This way, it makes it a lot more awkward to play Alana, because now you can't just like on turn 4 if you're going second play Alana, evolve, then play the 1-mana 1/1 rabbit healers, two of them, and then they just become bigger, and then Alana just becomes bigger by itself. Now you have to do it with on later turns. If you want to do the same thing, you have to do it on turn 6 instead of turn 4, and that significantly hurts Alana, but not to the point where it's not a tier 1 contender, since it's still a very good deck. And since with the next nerf, which is the biggest one, Seductress Vampire, it's still a very good contender for tier 1. Seductress Vampire before stated that if you drew it and you didn't have Vengeance, you'd be treated as you have Vengeance for the rest of the match, even if your life was higher than 10. Now, if you draw it and Vengeance is not active for you, you reveal it, banish it, and you change your maximum defense to 10. This means it'll still do the same thing, put you into Vengeance, but put you at a much vulnerable state, because now instead of you being like 20 and you have Vengeance, now your max health is 10. So that means you draw it, that max 10 health is a big hindrance, mainly because a lot of decks could deal 10 damage burst very easily. Like Forest could do 10 damage very easily, Sora could do 10 damage very easily, and all those other stuff. And as well as like what I fear to be the next big deck, since these two decks are much hindered now. I feel like Mono Blood or Machina Blood, whatever you call it, will be now the next big deck, since with the new cards that got printed in Rebirth of Glory, the deck is much more consistent with like the new 2-mana 1/3 Machina card that summons snakes and make them Machinas. It helps you get into a mono turn 7 much more consistently, because before we needed just more ways to make more Machina followers, and that deck could just kill and do 10 damage very easily. And they also got new hand buff cards. It's just very powerful. Alana is a deck that can compete with that deck, so I'm thinking Alana will still be a tier 1 deck, since it was just Alana that was hit. But Vengeance Blood seems like it will go down to most likely a tier 2 deck, because we still have Azazel, which is basically now a Seductress Vampire, but much better. And because Azazel is I think the right step into making Vengeance Blood a thing. Seductress Vampire seems more of a mistake, because the whole thing about Bloodcraft is that they want to deal damage to themselves so they could get into their state of vengeance much more easily. If you make a card like the Seductress Vampire, you just take that whole class identity away. These basically, and just bring up the high rolls, because now if you just draw Seductress Vampire, there you go. You have that vengeance status. You don't have to deal damage to yourself anymore. Just go for it. But Azazel still does what you want to do. Deal damage to yourself, makes your life 10, but also protects you a little bit, because now you can only deal 3 damage to yourself at max per hit. So it protects yourself, puts you down to that at the cost of an evolve, which is what most things we get do. Like I forgot the 4-mana 4/3 with Bane, that when you evolve it destroys enemy follower, but puts your life down to 10, but doesn't make your max health 10. But yeah, Azazel is a right step to making Vengeance Blood a thing. Seductress Vampire is just, like I said, a mistake. And like they're saying here, Vengeance Bloodcraft had a 58.0% win rate and a 40.3% usage rate, which is insane, because if a deck has more than like a 51 or 52% win rate, that deck is already just insane. And almost half the meta is Vengeance Bloodcraft. It's just bonkers to me. Lana Havencraft had 51.5% usage win rate and a 12.7% usage rate. So that means both Alana and Vengeance Bloodcraft combined make a bit over half of the metagame, which is mind-boggling, because that means that's how broken Seductress Vampire was. It was just a broken card. It was just insane. Looking at July Hierarchy and Unlimited, Vengeance Bloodcraft was the second highest win rate of all decks in Archetype, with again 58%, but has a less usage rate because in Limited there's a lot more decks, but still has a 58% win rate in Unlimited, and that's still insane. But it says that it's the second highest win rate, which means that Alana had the highest win rate at 58%. So Alana was not as much of a problem in rotation, since 12.7% usage rate is pretty decent for the tier 1 deck, and 51.5% is again a little bit above average. You want to get it closer to 50%, but it still wasn't that bad. But it got hit mainly because of Unlimited. They're like 58% win rate, mainly because in Unlimited we have a lot more good healing effects. We have the new Alana, we had the old Alana's Prayer, we had Tanko, and all that type of stuff, and had the third highest usage rate. I don't know which one had the second highest usage rate, but yeah, decks are just insane. Deck Archetype with the second highest usage rate has a win rate that falls within acceptable parameters, and no other deck archetypes hold an overwhelming win usage rate. Players going first Unlimited have a 50.5% win rate compared to 53.2% early July. So the win rate for going first Unlimited has gone down, which is good, but still the win rates for these two decks are just way too high and need to be brought back down, so we can have a much more healthier format. And yeah, you get your vials for all of them, but something that they're doing for this is that if you have temporary cards for Alana and Seductress Vampire, usually they will not refund you for temporary cards, but since these are just emergency changes, they will provide recompense for this one only, because it was just a very, very quick hit, and they needed to do this so they could keep the format healthy. And yeah, that's it for the changes for the July 10th balance update. Yeah, they were pretty big, but they're expected. I didn't expect Heartsick Demon, but it was probably a necessary evil. And it's nice that it's funny that it's now a 6-mana 6/6 because of the demon. And yeah, down in the comments below, I'd like to know your thoughts of these changes. What'd you like about it? What'd you hate about it? I'd expect it to be a overall good reaction, because people hated seeing these decks on rotation and wanted to see more decks. Personally, I was gonna put out a video showcasing a deck, but since the changes are gonna happen, I have to remake the video with the new changes, but I'll still leave in one game with the old patch, mainly because it was against Vengeance Blood, and it still put up a good fight, even though it usually should not win that matchup, because Seductress is just a broken card, but I somehow just put up a fight. So hopefully, if Vengeance Blood is still a thing, I could show how the deck worked before and how it worked after. Hopefully the deck still works, because Vengeance Blood is still a very fun deck to play, but who knows. it'll probably just be a tier 2 deck. And if it's still a thing, I'll probably showcase it in the later future. So yeah, that's it for the balance update. And Gene, out.